Welcome. Greetings of peace and love. Welcome to Sacred Conversations. This is a series of conversations that is presented by Sacred Journey Interfaith Seminary by the two founders, directors, and executive deans. I'm Reverend Lori Cardona, and I'm here with Reverend Dr. Grace Telesco. And together we have decided that we are going to keep the memory of seminary alive by having these conversations. And most of the time, they come from private conversations, and then they evolve into the types of conversations we would have with our students if they were in class. So recently, we were just talking about life, our lives as they're unfolding. And next thing you knew, we were gushing over our pets. I have a puppy that was friends with Grace's puppy when we were both living in the same town, and she also has two horses now. And as we were speaking of our love for our beloved pets, we started also noticing the spiritual insights that we get from them and through our relationships with them. And so we realized that they are mystical angels, they are four-legged gurus, yogis, angels. We love them so much, and we learn from them. And we also learn how to interact in general in life as a result of watching how they interact, seeing everyone as beloved and worthy of love and compassion, where sometimes we may falter in that respect. And so we keep coming back to center, and we keep looking to our four-legged yogis. And so that's where we're going today. I don't know quite how deep we're going, but I'm about to find out. Thank you and welcome. And hello, Reverend Grace.
Thank you so much, Rev Lou. So what I did, I mean, everybody is probably very much into AI these days, and little friend called Chat GPT has become, very close to me in so many ways. And so I asked Chat if it would write for us an interfaith invocation for this podcast. And
Okay.
and here's what it says. So before we begin, we'll take a moment to center ourselves. As Revlo always teaches us, place our hand on our heart and take a deep breath in. We gather in the spirit of dialogue from many paths with many stories and many ways of naming what is sacred. Some of us speak to God, some listen to the quiet within, some honor the earth, the ancestors, the mystery. And all of us, in our own ways, seek truth, connection, and understanding. And so we invite the spirit of compassion to be present in our words today, the light of wisdom to guide our thoughts, the courage of honesty to shape our conversations, and the grace of humility to help us learn from one another, particularly learn from our four-legged yogis. May this space be a meeting ground for curiosity, respect, and the deep human desire to make meaning. May what we say here today serve something greater than ourselves: justice, healing, hope, or simply the quiet strength of being heard. And in all your names we pray, Amen, Amin, Aho, Ashe, blessed be. So it is. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And that is artificial/divine intelligence.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
So we're going to talk about, in our sacred conversation today, lessons from a four-legged guru or four-legged yogi. And we're focusing on these spiritual insights about the fur-legged creatures that we've had in our lives. And so the first question that I'd like to pose to you and to both of us is, what was the first moment that you realized that your four-legged guru was teaching you something that was deeply spiritual, beyond behavior, beyond what it usually is, that usual connection between the human and a four-legged species?
Interesting. I don't know if I can pinpoint one specific moment in time that was the first time, but certainly plenty of times. And I wanted to refer to an article I wrote back in 2018, and I actually called it Lessons from a 10-Pound Yogi. It was about my little dog, Wilson, who in 2018 passed away, July 26th, actually. And that was the deadline for the article. And the article was going to be about seminary, because if you recall, back in the day, if we wrote an article for Natural Awakenings, they would give us a little ad space for the seminary. So I was going to be writing an article about the things we teach our students, about the universal themes that run through the religions that we were teaching, especially the more mystical religions and more mystical ways of looking at the world. And as I was coming up on deadline, my little dog passed away. And so the article ended up being about how he was an example of the things we were teaching our students. And so, if you don't mind, I'm going to quote myself. It says, a big lead in, I won't read the big lead in. Every religion asks for our humility, our surrender, our willingness to strive for the release of the ego's strong grip so that we can rise above pettiness and learn to love steadily, forgive readily. Even in the worst of times, we have a sacred choice. We can angrily fight the tides of circumstance, or we can stand strong in our inner knowledge that divine order is moving in the direction of our spiritual growth. So Wilson, my little 10-pound yogi, he seems to have an innate second nature knowing of all of this, with no signs of distraction from his commitment to a life of inner peace. He withstood my clumsy parenting when I got soap in his pretty eyes at bath times, or when my frequent missteps landed on his little paw, causing us both to yelp and for a moment leap away from each other. But he always bounced back. He always came back quickly to me without reprimanding me, and simply stretched like a yogi and snuggled in close. And so that was a great example of how we prolong whatever is going on with our ego. That's my Wilson. We prolong the recovery of whatever is going on with us, egotistically wise, fear, upset, anger, jealousy, whatever it is. Whereas Wilson showed me, you know what? I can just have one quick little yelp and then come back, stretch like a yogi, and snuggle in close. Lesson in forgiveness.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, for me, I mean, I've had, and also you're going to see some pictures of Wilson, of Ernesto, and who the both of whom are in heaven now,
Yes.
and currently Chiquis, who's a baby and here, and Pache's little playmate and cousin. You know, over the years, I've had many yogis, four-legged yogis in my life, many of whom now are in the heavenly realm. But if I could focus a little bit right now on one particular four-legged yogi that I currently am privileged and blessed to have in my life, and that is Beauty. Beauty, the horse. And she's a quarter horse. She's a mare. She's 15 years old. She's been through some trauma. She's had 14 years of trauma. Now, those of you who know me, and I don't make any I don't know, I don't make it a secret that that trauma has happened in my life. But guess what? I don't know anybody that hasn't had trauma in their life in one way or another. And so, I struggle with anxiety and the various, issues like that, right? A lot of neurosis. And so I started to notice that when I was around a horse, just smelling a horse, just holding a horse's head, just kissing a horse, that I started to really feel present, present in my body in a way that I don't think I usually am. I'm very distracted kind of an individual. Some people say I have ADHD. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But I know that when I'm with Beauty, that's her name, the quarter horse, or when I was with any horse in particular, any horse, I suddenly just was right, boom. And we're going to talk about the present moment in a minute, leading into it. I think it's a good segue for the next question about the present moment. But that's when I got Beauty here, and I've never been a horse owner, and she's here, she's in my backyard, she's in, on the 5 acres, and I'm with her every day for a significant amount of time. I started to notice that, well, I knew right away that she had anxiety. And I was like, great. Why would I attract anxiety when I am looking to ease my anxiety, not have two of us anxious and fearful? But the lesson was, I'm telling her, it's a plastic bag, Beauty. Don't be afraid. Because, they're prey animals, horses, so they're afraid of everything. Plastic bag goes flying and she's freaking out. And I have to reassure her, Beauty, it's okay. It's just a plastic bag. It's not a big deal. I'm here. I'm never going to let anything happen to you. You're completely protected and safe. And here's where the lesson came. So this guru, this yogi, this teacher of mine named Beauty is showing me that when I have a plastic bag flying in my face, whatever it is, work, a lot of plastic bags, almost like that thing that you see, a big giant balloon man that's like
Oh
very
yeah, yeah.
scary, waving in the street. Work is like that. Big plastic bag, very upsetting, very fearful. Oh gosh, what is this? I recognize that the way I tell Beauty it's just a plastic bag is the way God, however you want to call God, what God is, how I experience God, is this reassurance that it's just a plastic bag. Nothing to fear. I got you. You're safe. And so that's what she's been teaching me. So I guess all along I thought she'd come into my life and she'd really help ease my anxiety. But what she's showing me is she's showing me my anxiety is founded in fake news. It's founded in a plastic bag that's not going to hurt me, and that God's always got me. So, with that, we talked a little bit. I introduced a little bit about the present moment. Let me ask you this question. These fur beings, they live fully in the present. How has observing your babies shift your relationship with presence, with mindfulness, or even time itself?
It is that the awakening of our ability to be aware in the present moment. And I want to refer back to what you were just saying, that as you were speaking to Beauty, you realized that you were actually speaking to yourself. And it was that message was just as much for her as it is for you. And even though they may have fears, and I think a lot of pets do, they have those hyper responses to things. I know Ernesto, who came after Wilson, he used to be hyper alert. He was a rescue also, like Beauty, and we don't know their past. We don't know what they went through. We just know it was traumatizing in some way. And so he would also get like hyper alert to things. And I realized that I have that sensitivity to sound, and I'll just suddenly be hyper alert. Oh, there's my Ernesto. What a good boy. He was a good boy. He was with me for 4 years. And I used to call him the altar boy, because when I went from teaching in person the Course in Miracles classes to live stream, he was always present. And I really believe people showed up more for him than for the messages. Oh, by the way, you didn't show us a picture of Beauty. Why don't we see Beauty?
Oh, well, I will at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So your question was about presence. Um, I think that one of the things that happens with our pets is that they are so quickly moved out of whatever it is that occurred. So, like the story of Wilson, he didn't stay with the story of me stepping on his paw or putting soap in his eyes. He moved into the present moment and was able to be close to me, and we were able to love each other. although I was still holding on to a few moments of guilt. He wasn't holding on to anything. And that's a reminder of being in the present moment. And I once heard a joke about, I wonder if this is answering the question. I once heard a joke that said, if you put, if you're in a rush and you put your spouse and your dog in the trunk and take off, when you get to where you're going and you open the trunk, your spouse is not going to be too happy with you, but your dog's going to be wagging their tail because in that moment, they're just happy to see you, you know. So I think that joy, I'm just walking in the door, and I'm sure you can attest to this with Pache. You can be away for 10 minutes or 10 days. They greet you with such joy, such love, such happiness. And in that moment, I'm nowhere else. I am in that moment enjoying the reciprocity of our enthusiasm and our greeting. And so I think it is a continuous reminder of being in the present moment, because they don't bring the past in. Now, being afraid of the bags or being afraid or yelping, that's momentary. That's momentary. And they move past it very quickly, and
Hmm.
then they go back to just, be here now.
They certainly don't hold resentment.
Doesn't They don't seem to. That's true.
Hold resentment. Here's Beauty. This is Beauty, and she's
And she was
quite a
beautiful.
beauty. And
That's
so,
the right thing.
huh, how is she teaching me? You know, it's interesting. How is she teaching me about being in the present moment? Is when I ride her,
Mm.
especially. Because, I have a lot of chatter that goes on in my head. I don't know about anybody else, but I do. And it's just like constant, like soundtrack of stupidity in my head or things that I'm worried about or, plastic bags flying in my head or whatever. But when I'm on her, I have to pay attention completely. There's no thinking about something else. And it's so different than when we did trail riding together.
Yep.
We've done it twice. I think once for your birthday, once for like we gave ourselves a present after our ordination, when we did our ordination for our seminarians. And I think that we went to Barbie Ranch and we did a really nice trail ride. That's different because the horses know how to follow each other, and there's not a lot of room for error on that. But when you have a horse yourself on your own land and you're going to ride this horse, you have to be the leader. They look to you to be the leader. They shouldn't be the leader, right? And they're a herd animal. So you have to have confidence in yourself and you have to know what you're doing. You have to be paying attention and have to make sure that she's paying attention. And the way I know she's paying attention is her ears. Now, like right now in this picture, her ears are straight ahead of her. So she's paying attention to something that's ahead of her. But their ears turn. So it's like you could see the ear, one ear facing forward and one ear facing back, and she's listening, and she's listening to me. And I have to make sure that I'm totally present with her, that I have vision ahead and I know where I'm going and I want her to go a certain way, so I have to hold the reins a certain way and maneuver her that way. And the other thing that I'm learning is it's not so much the reins either. That's not where the steering comes. The steering really comes in the way I'm sitting. They call it in your seat. So the way I'm sitting in this present moment and mindfulness about, am I slouching? Am I sitting on my pockets? Are my feet up? Heels down, toes up. How am I leaning if I want her to turn a certain way? It's like this beautiful rhythm, but it's all about mindfulness and it all becomes this meditation. And so in all of this, I can't think about other things. The chatter, it's gone. It's just her. It's just her and I and our intimate connection. It's intimate. There's like this silent communication between us. And if I'm upset or I'm afraid, she gets afraid because she's like, you're supposed to be the leader and you're afraid. What do you see? What should we be afraid of? You know? And so what that does for me is it sort of teaches me that I can apply this teaching to everything that I do.
Yeah, I understand that from those two rides. They were both gifts from you to me. Thank you. When we went to the ranch, and there was a trail guide who went with us, and just talked about the very subtle motions. If the horse is going down and you lean back again a little bit, and just the body language that was communicating between our body and the horse. And as you were describing that, I remember how very focused we did have to be. Every now and then we'd say, "Oh, look at that!" Something was pretty that we were going by, but it really was about that connection to the present moment and to the animal.
So I know we talked a little bit about this before, or I did, especially about the anxiety piece and the fear piece, because anxiety is rooted in really fear, self-centered fear.
Yeah.
um, and it's mostly illusion. Hardly, I mean, if there's a car coming right now and I have to get out of the way and oh my God, I'm afraid. Like that's right in the moment. But ordinarily, my worry and my fears are about things that may not ever happen. It's ridiculous, right? So
Well,
this
yeah, because anxiety is not being in the present moment. So when you are in the present moment and you're so focused on beauty and your time with her, it's as if everything else just fades away.
exactly. So this question may have been answered already, but let's go for it. Have there been moments where your fur love, your four-legged love seems to mirror your inner world? And what did that reflection teach you about yourself?
Yeah, it's interesting because you were saying that, is it your fear or is it her fear? And if you're afraid, is she noticing that you're afraid? And one time I heard this really loud, there was some work being done in my house. And I heard this loud bang. And then I heard Wilson cry. So I right away thought that he was hurt. And so I went running into the next room. I literally believe I took a flying leap into the next room. And the worker said, "Oh, no, he's okay. I I think he was just scared." And I realized that having people in the house, this was right after my house had got broken into, as you recall. And so I was having some repair work. And so I had a lot of anxiety around being in that same house, which I finally sold and left because I felt like it wasn't my house anymore. But I think I instilled my fear into him. I don't know that for sure, but I think that's an example of what you're speaking of, because I was fearful after that. That was the second break-in, and as you know, the people were still there when I came home, and so I became afraid of the house, of being there, and I put it up for sale. And I think he became afraid of being there as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I
So,
think so.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to read a little bit.
Please.
I wanted to read a little more, quoting myself from the
Yes.
article. I was talking about the knowing and the easy love that is so apparent in our pets. That deep within our hearts, we all know that our experiences are temporary and somewhat less significant than the tremendous and often excess energy that we put into them. And it's our soul's journey, our life of sacred contracts that land us in experiences we sometimes don't understand. In our confusion and in our angst, we forget to handle our challenges with the willingness to learn and be led by spirit and spirit's whisper and the sacred lessons that have been put before us and for us. We forget to surrender to the lessons with an open heart and open mind. And what we really only need to do is ask for direction. And yet every time after we are done kicking and screaming and kicking those plastic bags away, those flying bags, and we say, "Why me?" we find the answers that are blessed as disguises when doors open and comforts wait for us. And I think that's all our pets tell us. We just want comfort. We just want to comfort you and be comforted by you. It's very simple. We're walking down the street walking our dogs and we're thinking about the day and we're thinking about yesterday and we're thinking about our upset and oh my goodness, and we're holding on to this and the dog's thinking, oh, I have to pee and I'm with the one I love. That's it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm happy to be with the one I love.
That's right. That's right. So when you look at these are my children, and
But
you know, as Vito Corleone said, you can see I spoil my children because I do. And the one on the left is Pache, and Pache is 2 years old. That's Chiquis's
Jiki's cousin.
Regina, her prima,
Yeah.
and Pache is a nut job. Okay, and so what she mirrors in me is my nut jobness. And instant gratification. I mean, she wants what she wants when she wants it, and that's all. She's obsessed about it, and she just wants to do that. And she's also the one of the most beautiful things about her is how much she shows love. Like she's not afraid to show it. And in the morning, the kisses are ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the morning, yes.
Morning kisses, forget about it, right? And it's funny because Beauty in the morning, she does this. We call it the Aunt Marie shuffle because I had an aunt, my Aunt Marie, who was my heart. She used to like dance. It was part of a nervous habit or a nervous tick. And Aunt Marie would do this like back and forth. She would just, it was like a rocking. It was a soothing rocking thing she would do. And she had anxiety too. So that's what Beauty does, right? And she's doing that because she wants the cookie. She knows the cookie's coming, right? So Pache and Beauty have a lot in common that I have in common, which is instant gratification. I want it now, and I'm not seeing the results. And that makes me very hyper, right? And then you've got beautiful Bliss over there. Bliss is the pony, and she's patient. She's there in the background. Beauty is in charge, so Beauty's the herd leader, and that means that she eats when Beauty says it's okay. It's like a pecking order, and it you say it's sad, but it's nature, right? That's the way it is. She's alpha. But I learned from Bliss, and I mirror what's mirrored in Bliss in me is that when I connect with a power greater than me, and I can get into that place of I am okay, then I can be like Bliss, patiently waiting for whatever God's got in store. But Pache is hyper. So like Pache and Beauty are my ego self, and Bliss is my Satchitananda, that Ananda self, that soul self that's connected to a power greater than me, that knows all is well, it's going to be okay. Now, like, frankly, if you watch Bliss, she's also afraid of her own shadow. But as far as like waiting and being patient with a process, Bliss mirrors that in me only when I'm connected to that power greater than me.
Well, did you give Bliss that Lady Gaga haircut, or that's
No, no, that's her. That's how she is. Yeah, yeah. Isn't that funny, Lady Gaga? So, last question. Last question. Many spiritual traditions speak. Oh, actually, there's two more questions, but this is a really good one for us because we're interfaith and we teach this stuff. Many spiritual traditions speak of unconditional love. How has your bond with your fur beings shaped your understanding of love without expectations?
Well, that's the big thing about pets, right? I mean, they always say they love us unconditionally. And I think that we can say that it's true in the sense that they just want the basics. I think they do expect those basics. But I once had a big fall. Remember Hurricane Wilma back in 2005? Yeah. I had a big fall off the roof. I fell off the roof and fell smashed down to the ground. And Wilson knew that I was hurt. He knew that I was hurt. He was kind of far from me, and he started crying, and he came running to me, just came immediately as my paramedic. He's just like, he ran from where, and I'm thinking, how did he know? How did he know that I was hurt? How did he know that falling that it wasn't intentional, that I didn't jump? You know, there was something about that intuitiveness on his part to just zero in on me. And then I was kind of worried about him because he just seemed so frantic, and I was trying to soothe him. And I realized that anything that I may think about in terms of the supernaturalness of our pets, it just seems very real to me. They seem very intuitive. They seem like they're still with us after they leave their little bodies. They know when we're hurt. They know when we're happy. They have that reflection of our energy, and they give it back to us. Now, Wilson, if you recall, when I first started doing congregational work with LMC Interfaith Ministry, he was the greeter. He had a little tag that he wore on his harness, and he would get up and walk people in. And at the end, he was getting old, and he would get up and walk them out. And who did he do that for? He did that for love. He did that for love. And he didn't ask for anything in return. There were no conditions put on that. It's very hard for humans to be unconditional. I know when we ask our students to say their vows, one of the things I always tell them is, don't vow to something you can't do. Mm-hmm. Don't vow to be unconditionally loving, because most humans are not.
Right.
That's right. We may strive for that, but are we? We have expectations. Dogs, cats, well, maybe cats, I don't know, but yep. Horses.
Absolutely. And I think that you summed it up with your example about the if you put your spouse and your dog in the trunk, like that's unconditional love at its best. Yeah, I mean, I think that Pache, I think all three of them, for me, Pache, Beauty, and Bliss, all three of them show me unconditional love. And the best thing is, like, there's no resentment. One day Beauty, she like head-butted me, and it was on purpose. It wasn't an accident. She's a mare. I never wanted a mare, but I got a mare anyway.
What does that mean?
A mare?
What was it about a mare that's problematic, or that you thought would be problematic?
Because they're moody.
Oh, moody mare. Okay.
They're moody, and gelding is not. They have this saying, tell a gelding. A gelding is a male horse that's been fixed, if you will, right? So you tell a gelding, he'll just do whatever you say. You ask a stallion who is not fixed, also male, and you discuss with a mare. So that just goes to show you. And those of us who have partners who are female, we understand this concept too. But anyway, so one day she like head-butted me. I was trying to get something out of her eye, and she wasn't having it, and she butted me, like almost like as if she slapped my hand away with her head, and I instinctually slapped her neck, like, don't do that to me, because it's rude, it's disrespectful, and she's 1,000 pounds. It's not like Wilson or Ernesto or Chiquis or Pache, where it's like, they're not going to hurt you, really. If a horse wants, if a horse accidentally even can, like, really hurt you badly. So you can't have that. But I instinctually did it. I hit her, and oh God, I felt so bad about it. And the next day I was just like, I could hardly, like, look at her, because I was afraid that she would view me differently. And she didn't. Now, this is a horse who's had trauma too. So I was also worried about, was that going to trigger her? Was she going to think, oh, not you too, eat too, Brutus, but it wasn't. She unconditionally loved me, and she held on to no resentment with me whatsoever. And so our last question: if your dog or horse could speak one sacred teaching to humanity, what do you imagine they'd say?
Yeah. Forgive and you will see this differently. Forgive and you will find peace. Forgive and you will find compassion, understanding. Look at my cheekies. So that's Wilson, who lived for 15 and a half years with me, died in 2018. Ernesto died in 2020, what? 2024. And now Cheekies, who I've had less than 2 years. And I think they all have the same message of forgiveness. I think that no matter what occurs, just like slapping Beauty on the neck, they rise above it, and that's one of our big lessons. And we've talked about this. Every religion talks about it. Every mystical path talks about it. That we are here to rise above the circumstances that may lead us to anger, judgment, condemnation. I think we're all here to learn forgiveness, and our pets are amazing, beautiful, exemplary examples of forgiveness.
So what I think Pache would say, as long as you look good, all will be well. She's so
Wow,
cute.
great
Ex-
spiritual.
Exquisitutu that she is.
She's adorable.
She is. But she's loving. She's loving and sweet, and be loving and be sweet. And so I think that would be her message. I think Bliss would say, even though I'm not in charge, it's okay because I know all will be well at the end of the day. And I think Beauty would say, don't allow the plastic bag to prevent you from living your highest, best life and knowing that all will be well because I'm safe and I am protected.
All will be well. I'm going to read, if you don't mind. That leads me to the last paragraph, and then I'll pass it back to you. In my article, where I'm referring to lessons from a 10-pound yogi. As we grow in our spiritual intentions and dedications, we begin to take another look at the importance of our inner world, the light within, the wisdom within, and ultimately the ever-present peace within. And just like little Wilson, we surrender to the simple truth of our spiritual self, our sacred self of service and love. We get in touch with our divine nature. We praise, we pray, we forgive, we love. And then, again, like Wilson, we snuggle in clothes and we rest. I rest in God. I rest in the spiritual, the higher holy self, the spiritual truths that are common amongst human and critters. All of those lessons from all of our four-legged gurus.
Fabulous. You had a song, you said.
Yes. Oh, okay. Karen Byron, Dr. Karen Byron, who we were talking about her earlier. She lives close to you. She and I used to play ukulele together, and she taught me the song. And if I were feeling quite brave, I would pull out my ukulele and sing it and play it. But instead, I'll recite it. It's called God and Dog by Wendy Francisco. It says, I look up and I see God. I look down and see my dog. Simple spelling, G-O-D. Same word backwards, D-O-G. They would stay with me all day. I'm the one who walks away. Both of them wait for me and dance at my return with glee. Both love me no matter what. Divine God, canine mutt. I take it hard each time I fail, but God forgives and dog wags tail. There's my cheekies. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for today. We'll post this on all of our pages, and I have to edit out a little piece in the middle, a plastic bag that came in the middle of our podcast.
What a great time. What a great divine example of how we just keep moving forward, push those bags away, and do whatever it is we have to do to get through.
Great.
Love in our hearts. My love for you. See you soon.
Namaste.